Hi, Mike. How are you doing today?
Oh, it's good to catch up and talk about Novo Resources.
Indeed. Maybe you can just refresh the audience a bit of memory about Novo Resources, a bit of an overview about your company.
Yeah, good place to start. So we're an Australian-based gold explorer. We are a little bit unusual because we're listed on the TSX at the moment, and we also have an OTC platform. Our whole focus is looking for large size gold projects here in Australia. We're looking for plus 1 million ounce projects, projects that would have, 5 to 10 year plus life. Amazingly, we have over 10,000 square kilometres of exploration ground here in the Pilbara. So that's about 80% of the size of Connecticut. So it's a large piece of ground. And we'll talk today a little bit about some of our key projects called Becher and Nunyerry. They're all in the Pilbara. And also over in the eastern part of Australia in Victoria, we have our Belltopper project, which is not too far away from the really large Fosterville mine, which is high grade. So overall, we're a gold focused explorer looking to provide shareholder value through discovery.
Let's talk a bit about your recent drilling news. You have some success on your Becher project on some of the drilling. Maybe you can elaborate on some of the highlights with us.
Yes, so September last year we started drilling a project we called Becher. It's kind of in the middle of our tenements across the Pilbara. It's in what's in the northern section of what we call the Egina Gold Camp. So if your listeners look at our website, you'll see the Egina Gold Camp is an 80-kilometre contiguous zone of tenements running north to south. So Becher's at the top of those. What's really exciting about Becher, it's only 28 kilometres from De Grey's Hemi project. Now, not too many people would know about De Grey. It's an Australian-based company. It has over 11 million ounces in resource, and we're only 28 kilometres away from this project. So Becher has very similar geology. So since September last year, we drilled 60,000 metres of air core drilling. Air core drilling allows you to test the cover across the top of volcanic rocks, in this case, an intrusion, and we're using that technique to get an understanding of gold distribution. We're looking for soil or gold anomalism by doing this drilling, and that drilling was fantastic. Over the period from September to May this year, we drilled over 60,000 metres. The results were spectacular. We saw a lot of similarities to the Becher project, to the Hemi project from De Grey, and a very exciting discovery kind of for our team. And what's really exciting is, that led to some discussions with De Grey. But Becher is our key project, flagship project. We do have other projects in the southern part of Egina. Gold Camp is Nunyerry North, and we'll go drilling in Nunyerry in a couple of weeks' time.
You mentioned you recently talked about the joint venture with the Gray Mining. Can you share some of the details and how significant it is for your company?
So, as I said, Becher is very close to De Grey's Ballina Gold project. De Grey is a $2 billion company that is trying to develop their project. So we saw the same geology. We decided that the best pathway forwards for Becher, given its location next to Hemi, was to talk to De Grey about coming in and doing a joint venture. So De Grey really liked what they saw, which is a credit to our exploration team, which gives us great comfort that we'll find other things as we go looking in the Pilbara. So there was two sides of what De Grey did. The first up is they've invested $10 million Australian into Novo, so now De Grey is 11.6% shareholder. The other side is we formed a joint venture for the continual exploration of Becher and some tenements adjacent to Becher. That joint venture is extremely profitable for our shareholders. De Grey is going to spend $25 million Australian within 4 years to get 50% of Becher. So you can kind of almost, pseudonymism say the value is around $50 million. They do need to spend a minimum of $7 million in 18 months. So we saw that was a great credit to exploration team. We liked the valuation De Grey gave us. De Grey will take over management exploration. That's not a problem. They've been working on Hemi for 4 years. They know the geology better than us, and they'll be able to accelerate it. The key question is, why would you sell part of your flagship project? Well, at the end of the day, anything we discover will need a processing plant, and De Grey's going to build one only 30 kilometres away. So there's really good synergies for us there. So really, the joint venture will de-risk our exploration process in Becher. We won't need to put $25 million in. We can put our focus elsewhere across our portfolio. So we think this is a really good deal. Novo shareholders will get the benefit of De Grey's experience. De Grey is using their cash to continue the exploration and development. Novo shareholders will end up with a 50% interest in Becher, so there's still a lot of opportunity for upside. So I think all in all, a really good outcome for Novo shareholders.
So let's talk a bit about your existing project and another one, Nullagine Gold project that you had before. What's the status now, and what sort of the planning you have for that project?
Yeah, some people might be aware that we took the Nullagine Gold project into production a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the grade and the cost basis weren't as we predicted. And this time last year, we took that project down into suspension. So the project has been on care and maintenance since that time. We've done a review of where the Nullagine Gold project fits in our portfolio. We've really pivoted to exploration across that large tenement package. So on that basis, we've really made a decision to look for a new owner for Nullagine that has a better strategic fit. Having said that, the project is very valuable. The infrastructure, processing plant, offices, workshops, all of those things on site are very high quality and a huge value for people. And then on top of that, our exploration team have done a great job of reviewing exploration potential around that processing plant in the area that we call the Mosquito Creek Basin. So all up, we just don't see Nullagine and taking that back into production as really the best pathway for us at this stage, and we'll look for a new owner for that to bring shareholder value.
You mentioned earlier, of course, you're listed on TSX, but you're also undergoing a dual listing on the Australian Stock Exchange. So what's the timeline there, and what's the benefits of dual listing over there?
So we've been listed on the TSX since 2015 and through the OTC since 2012. 2012, yeah. So we've really had a very supportive long-term investor base going forwards. However, we're Australian-based. Australian investors are looking for good gold exploration assets, and it's very difficult for Australian investors to invest on TSX marketplace. So the ASX dual listing, we announced that 3 weeks ago. We're targeting the IPO on the ASX sometime in this quarter. So between now and end of August, we'll complete that. We see that the ASX is a natural fit and really complementary to the TSX listing that we have now. I think it'll bring a broader mix of shareholders. It'll actually increase our liquidity to the register, which I think is a really good thing for shareholders. And importantly, it will really engage Australian institutional investors, which will be important for us. So overall, I think it's a real benefit to all Novo shareholders through the ASX listing. We'll complete that process this quarter, and we'll be trading on both the TSX and the ASX going forwards.
Yeah, great to hear. Not only for Australian investors, but also institutional investors from Asia Pacific region as well, to be able to invest next in when you're listed in Australian Stock Exchange easily. So I'd like to conclude with the last question with you. Do you believe Novo Resources right now is undervalued, and why would be that?
So as you've heard, we've got a very large exploration portfolio. The success we've had at Becher just shows really the credibility and the capability of exploration teams. So we believe that exploration portfolio has huge potential to bring other projects like Becher to fruition. As I said, we're going to go drilling at Nunyerry. We've got a project near Becher called Balla Balla that we're starting early work. And our Victorian project, Belltopper, you'll see drilling later this year. So we're always looking for exploration success, and that's the core part of us. So without a doubt, I think the exploration portfolio is being undervalued across the portfolio. Gold is still good. I think it's a very strong gold price that we've seen. The way the world is hassling, I think gold remains very good for us going forwards and is a great leverage to success, our exploration. And then on top of that, obviously the Nullagine Gold project and its infrastructure will bring value into the shareholders. So overall, I think Novo is a very good proposition for people to have in their portfolio. We're obviously an explorer, so we're more of a speculative stock, but we're in the right country in terms of sovereign risk, but we're also in the right part of Australia, being right up against De Grey and the Hemi project of 10 million ounces. So I think we're in a very good position going forwards, and we definitely are undervalued.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing your latest update with us today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.